The new Warframe update, the Shadowgrapher, is already coming out next week, and with it, there are so many upcoming changes and events, you definitely want to prepare ahead of time. So, in this video, I'm gonna tell you how to best set up your Warframe account for the update, and also a couple of reminders on things that are about to end so that you still have enough time to snipe them last minute. Big shoutouts to all our generous channel members who help me keep the lights on, and now, let's jump right into it. Now, first of all, the most important point right off the bat, when is the whole thing gonna release? In case you haven't watched the dev stream, that's no problem. The release date for the Shadowgrapher will be next week on Wednesday, that's gonna be March the 25th, and if it follows the usual release pattern, then we're probably gonna look at a release time of 10 to 11 AM Eastern, that will be 4 to 5 in the afternoon Central European. If you want to be able to play all the new content day one, then the prerequisite to even play the new game mode and everything that comes with the update would be to finish the Chains of Harrow quest. That should be pretty doable, and if you haven't done that yet, then don't worry, you still have one more week to get there now. Okay, now this next point is going to be very interesting for you if you are the proud owner of a Switch 2. Because in case you haven't heard it, Warframe is going to come to Switch 2, and that Switch 2 release is going to be together with the Shadowgrapher update. So make sure to already free up some disk space on your console. The more important point here though is that with the Switch 2 release, there will be exclusive items for a limited time called the Embemanus Pack, I hope I pronounced that right, and this one includes the Veracruz Warfan as a melee weapon, together with a specific Warfan skin that you see in the background right now. On top of that, there are also some other goodies, 2 boosters and stuff, nothing major, but if you have a Switch 2, then you can secure this pack for free if you install the game and log in between March 25th on release and April the 15th. So yeah, don't miss that time window for some free goodies. Okay, the next point on this to-do list has actually nothing to do with the update itself, but I only noticed this earlier today, so I absolutely had to add it here. As I shockingly noticed this morning, the current Prime Resurgence with Atlas and Vauban is gonna end tomorrow. So, if you still want to farm Atlas Prime, Vauban Prime, their Prime weapons, or any of the goodies that you see in the background right here, then what are you waiting for? Get your butt in the game and farm them right now. However, with Vauban and Atlas going out, that also means we get 2 new frames coming in, which would be Nova and Trinity with their respective weapons and everything. This, I think, is great news, because Nova is easily one of the best Warframes in the game. I don't know, did I give her S tier in my recent tier list? Not 100% sure, but she's very high up there. And also Trinity is pretty darn good. Not quite S tier, but definitely underrated. By the way, I already have videos on all of these Warframes, so I'm gonna spare you the details right here. In case you want to farm that new Prime stuff and you now need Aya, then as always, the best way to farm Aya would be to either run the Void Capture missions, Uko or Hepit, do open world bounties, those have a pretty good drop chance of Aya as well, and lastly, farm standing for all of your syndicates, get Steel Essence for Tishin, and spend all of these resources on relic packs. But now, let's get into the explicitly Shadowgrapher related stuff. As we said previously, this update is going to launch on March 25th, that is going to be Wednesday next week. The main new thing being introduced is of course the new Warframe Follie, plus the brand new Follie's Hunt game mode that you need to play in order to unlock her. This game mode will be accessible on the currently destroyed Vesper Relay, where you will start it by walking into a painting. Now, when it comes to unlocking Follie herself, there's nothing that you can pre-farm directly because we have no idea which resources she will require to be crafted. However, I do have a theory and some tips that might help you to speed up the farming process. See, in the last dev stream, the team already showcased a bit of gameplay from that new Follie's Hunt game mode. And following what we saw on screen, what you will do in the game mode is search out multiple paintings throughout the relay, and then find hidden ink blobs to bring to the canvas as your main mission objective. While you're doing that, you're being hunted by Follie, who is completely untouchable and invincible, and if she catches you, she is gonna take you out. Now, from what we saw on stream, I think the main 2 obstacles in this game mode are going to be A, to avoid Follie, and B, finding the canvases and the hidden ink blobs in the first place. So, in my opinion, if you want to speed up the mission and therefore the whole grinding process for Follie, then one thing that sounds reasonable would be to have a very strong mobility Warframe. You know, somebody like Wukong with his cloud form, or maybe Titania who can fly and quickly blitz through the level. With those frames, it's going to be A, easier to avoid Follie because you're faster, and also B, your whole movement through the relay will be quicker, so you can better find and transport the ink blobs to the canvases. On top of that, I had another idea that I want to make very clear here. I do not definitively know if it's gonna work, however it might help a ton, and that would be Orc Eye and Golden Instinct. Now, what do I mean here? Golden Instinct is a helmet ability which, if used, will point you towards the direction of valuable items in the level. And Orc Eye is the air support skill from the Parallax Landing Craft that you can use in mission by using the, air support item or whatever it's called. And this one too will not only point you towards the direction where something valuable is to be found, but it will literally mark that thing on your map. Again, I'm not 100% sure if these skills actually work with the canvases or the hidden ink blobs, but I could imagine that they might, and if that's true, then having a Parallax Landing Craft with Orc Eye, or infusing the Golden Instinct ability, that might help big time speeding up the mission process because you don't have to search for those ink blobs anymore. And in case it doesn't work, then you also haven't lost anything because Orc Eye and Golden Instinct are always great things to have regardless. But Follie and her new game mode are not the only things being added with the update. On top of that, we get 3 new adversary weapons in the form of the Kuva Ghoulsaw, the Tenet Quanta, and the Coda Bobonico. So, if you really like one of these 3 weapons, then now, before the release of the update, might be a good time to snipe a cheap Riven. It's only going to increase in price once it launches. One thing you shouldn't do though, would be to pre-farm for those releases. Yeah, that's right, because with the release of the update, there are going to be some changes made to adversary systems as well. First of all, when logging in, every player will automatically get 8 Requiem mods for free, the whole set, which means you have enough of these mods to farm the new weapons with. On top of that though, the old Requiem relic system with 4 different relics that contain all types of stuff, that is going to be retired and replaced by a system where there is only 1 Requiem relic, and that relic will only contain the Requiem mods and no further stuff. So yeah, that's what I mean by don't pre-farm. If you're currently farming Kuva Liches or Sisters of Pavos, then my recommendation would be to just stop doing that right now and rather continue that once the update has launched, as it's going to get much easier to acquire those Requiem mods. And as if that's not enough, let's next talk about something else that you also shouldn't do until the update. See, with the Shadowgrapher update, there will be a lot of grind reduction happening. To be more specific, the developer said that the grinds for Nidus, Korra, Equinox, Avara, the Bratton or Leto Vandal, the Exceltra, the Icarios, the Kurudo, Aurum Spinoza, Sporatrix, and the Wolf Sledge, all of these grinds and resource requirements will be significantly reduced after the update. So, in case you're currently farming one of these items or are about to do that, then I would say just wait for 1 week and you're gonna have a much simpler time. The next point on today's agenda will be specifically interesting if you are in a clan, or maybe you even lead one yourself. Now, as they already went over last dev stream, clans are gonna get quite a significant rework in the upcoming update. I'm gonna spare you all the details here because we talked about it in the dev stream recap, you can check that out if you like, but mainly what is important right now would be this. First of all, 1 week after the update launch, so in 2 weeks, there will be a brand new clan operation called Operation Atramentum. This one will bring back clan trophies and other rewards, so that is definitely something to mark in your calendar. In case you want to get in on the action and you don't have a clan yet, then this right now would be your time to start searching for one. And if you are a leading member of a clan and there's a lot of inactivity going on, then this means it's also your call to search for new active members. However, the reason why you should be in an active clan is not only because of this operation. On top of that, with the upcoming changes, clans are also probably going to look at a big influx in resource income. This is because going forward, finishing missions will automatically give some resources to your clan, plus on top of that you can gain weekly personal rewards for teaming up with your clan members. What we saw on the dev stream about this actually looked kinda nice, so again, my call here would be to just make sure that you get into a clan, it's only gonna get better in the future. Okay, one thing that we also need to talk about would be Nightwave. To be 100% fair, this topic technically doesn't have anything to do with the next update. There is nothing regarding Nightwave in next week's release. However, yesterday on the Dev Short, Rebecca and Megan were asked about when the next Nightwave season might come around the corner, and while they didn't give a specific answer, from their reaction it was pretty obvious that the Nightwave is probably gonna come to an end. So, in other words, if you still have a couple more Nightwave levels to do, then you might want to put some more intense focus on it, as I could imagine the next season is probably gonna come in a few weeks. More infos on that, by the way, will be given out in the next dev stream on March the 28th. That is something that they did give away already. Now, the next point also technically doesn't have anything to do with the upcoming update, but I still wanted to use this video as a chance to remind you. As you probably know, the anniversary event for Warframe's 13th year has started last week, and it brings us weekly free goodies. The first week will end this Friday, so just in case you haven't yet, then make sure to play the alarm and get this free Excalibur deck skin. However, what's more important in my opinion would be the next interval, which will start on Friday after this one ends, because this one brings the deck Sibaris, and that rifle is actually better than it has any right to be. Mark it in your calendar, don't forget it, and in case you want to learn how to build it, I'm also going to give you an updated deck Sibaris guide as it launches. However, as additional part of the anniversary celebration, there's going to be another thing happening this weekend, and that would be a double affinity weekend. So, in case you still have the whole foundry full of stuff that needs to be power leveled, then definitely make sure to craft whatever you can before the weekend so you can take advantage of the much faster leveling. And as always, if you want to boost up that experience rate even further, you can combine it with a 3-day affinity booster, which will give you 4 times the experience gain. And also when you grind, don't forget to go to a relay and get yourself an affinity blessing. And last, but definitely not least, I think the probably most important thing to prepare for this update would be a platinum. I know, sounds stupid, but specifically the Shadowgrapher gives me the vibe that it's gonna be a pretty plat-heavy update. On the one hand, of course, we have the amazing skins coming up for Gauss and Grendel, plus all the accessories that come with it, and the 2 weapon skins on top. So far, everybody I've talked to loves them, so I could imagine a lot of you will probably want to buy them. However, we also have the new Tennogen items, and when I read the comments, probably also the old helmet for Follie, as a lot of people I've seen kinda sorta don't vibe with her standard helmet. That's also one of the reasons why I made this video a whole week ahead of the release, because I know trading takes a bit of time, and this way you hopefully have enough days left to get all the cash flow going that you need. And if you want to know how to get a lot of platinum for free and fast, then I already have the perfect video for you right here. Another massive shoutout to Niels V, Demon Artzel, Demon Emperor, Emperor Prime, Nostlandix Gaming, Turtlepeer, Underkanio2, Skylar Bowser, Mihawki, Socrates the Almighty Rat, Leo Murasaki, Shadow Lockhart, Hantares, Patrisator, Boomia1, Mr. Games Plays, Zave, Awindai, Zengen, Quax, Enric5984, Blue Eagle 98, Hearthwield, Evernade 802, and all other generous channel members for your continuous support. We see each other, hopefully in the next one, and until then, as always, good loot.